Hello, and welcome back to Viva Action, the podcast where we're talking about all things action movies. The good, the bad, and the underrated. My name is Santi, and by God, with me as always, it's Grayson.
Hello.
Hello. Grayson, it was your birthday.
It was.
We missed it.
That's okay. I had some shit going on. It was a perfect storm of just horrible things. So
yeah, it's the theme of this year. We plan something and then we miss it.
Yeah.
We missed Black History Month, and then even more egregiously, we missed your birthday. So
yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
But in light of it having been your birthday,
Yes.
which, if you don't know, Grayson's now 13 years old. We decided to watch an original.
Yeah.
A classic.
An OG.
An OG of the genre, one might say.
Yeah.
We watched Star Wars. 1977.
Episode 4.
Episode 4, technically. But before that, it was just called Star Wars.
Yeah.
Back in the day, before George Lucas fucking lost his mind and decided to make it weird as shit. It was just called Star Wars. Which, if you don't know, Star Wars, also known as Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, is a 1977 space opera film written and directed by George Lucas. The film stars Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker, with support from Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Peter Cushing, and Alec Guinness, as well as the voice of James Earl Jones as Darth Vader. On a budget of $11 million in 1977, the film brought in a whopping $775.4 million at the global box office, which, if you don't know, if you adjust for inflation, Star Wars is still like the second highest grossing movie of all time.
God damn.
Yeah, I think it's only behind Gone with the Wind, which is still, if you adjust for inflation, it's like still the highest grossing movie of all time for some reason.
The Wind, really?
Yeah. Yep.
Sure.
Yep. You know what else is in the highest grossing movies of all time? Is this movie? Oh God, I can't remember the name of it now. Well, this just became much less interesting of a fun fact.
It's all good.
You know what? We'll look it up later. Anyway, the film Star Wars: A New Hope carries a 94% critical score on Rotten Tomatoes. This film does not pass the Bechdel test.
Nope.
There's really just one woman for.
I was gonna say, isn't Leia like the only woman in this entire goddamn movie?
There's also Aunt Beru.
Oh, yes, that's true. But she gets burned to death. So
she does get burnt. She gets real crispy. And also, I have a fact about A New Hope that I want to just share now because it's bothered me for about 10 years now. Every time I watch this film, there's a scene where Uncle Owen goes to the kitchen and Aunt Beru is in there.
Yes.
And she's cooking up some sort of space food. And she's just wearing a jean jacket. She just has a jean jacket on.
I have watched this movie so many times and I have not noticed that.
Okay. Next time you watch it, go back and pay attention to that scene. It's the scene where where Uncle Owen is like, "Oh, where did Luke go?"
She's putting like cabbage
and just like boiling water or whatever, and she's just wearing a jean jacket. It just really, it's like the most immersion breaking thing in all of Star Wars, and it really bothers me for some reason that she's just wearing a plain ass 1970s jean jacket.
That's hilarious.
Just a denim jacket. Anyway, finally, the plot synopsis from IMDb. A farm boy joins forces with various allies to save their galaxy from the evil Empire's planet-destroying battle station, while also rescuing the princess leading the rebellion against them. And that's
Yep,
Star Wars, baby.
that's it.
Now, before we continue on with our review of this film, Grayson, what do you think of Star Wars?
I like it. I think it's great. I think it's great. I mean, I grew up with this. I remember watching A New Hope when I was really young.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it had been, God, how long has it been since I've seen A New Hope? How old am I? Fuck.
You are 28.
You don't remind me. It's probably been about 10 to 15 years since I've seen A New Hope.
Okay.
I've seen like it, it's been on at like, you're walking down Walmart and it's for some reason playing on the
Right.
TVs or whatever. Occasionally at the break room at my work, there's like they have it on like whatever weird FX channel or whatever, and they're doing like a Star Wars marathon. So I've seen like bits and pieces, but I haven't like sat down and watched it in a
Yeah.
really long time. And man, yeah, it still holds up. It is really, really good.
It is really good. And it's astonishing to watch it even now
Mm-hmm.
and just be like, I can't believe they made this in 1977. Like
Yeah.
it still looks so good.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're somebody who's never seen Star Wars before and you're just watching it for the first time, I can understand there's some people who might watch it and be like, well, that was boring, right? Or like whatever, because
Yeah.
it's hard to put yourself in the shoes of somebody from 1977 and understand like how revolutionary this movie was for the time,
Yeah.
right? But even aside from that, just watching it this most recent time, it's just so delightful. It's just
It
like
is.
it's the kind of sort of timeless classic story that like you can recite just in your brain, just
Yep.
without even having to think about it. But at the same time, it has so many things that have just like been born out of it, have just become so iconically Star Wars.
Yep.
And I don't know, it's just a good movie. It's so much fun. Um but yeah, it's really just a triumph of all kind, like storytelling and special effects and
Man, the special effects, like that's what really gets me is that like, they managed to do all of those special effects in the 70s,
yeah,
which like set so many standards for the film industry going forward.
yeah,
Um and with Empire and Return of the Jedi, it feels like they just got better at it.
oh yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, the original trilogy, yeah, God, they're just so good.
Yeah, the Ridge Tridge,
The
as
Ridge Tridge,
as they're known.
yeah, everybody's calling him that.
That's what they're saying. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah,
hearing. Um, yes, yeah, they are so good, and I think this A New Hope. It is kind of funny though, like watching it without, like, if you try to put yourself like without the context of later Star Wars,
yes,
it is fun to kind of watch it and try to think like what it would have been like to experience it then. And there's all these little references that like now have all this meaning, right?
yeah.
Like the Clone Wars and talking about Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship and like all this stuff. But
Even Luke's little like little toy spaceship.
oh yeah.
Right, we now have context for that.
Right. Yeah, there's been so much Star Wars world building that it's kind of fun to try and put yourself in the shoes of like, okay, just watch it without like don't think about any of
Yeah,
that and just try to absorb the movie as it is, right? And it's
yeah,
like it's almost impossible because Star Wars has so feverishly like infected every corner of pop culture that it's like
yeah,
impossible to avoid
yeah,
thinking about it, but it is fun. Like I like to imagine a world where like it, like let's say just there's some alternate universe out there where like Star Wars wasn't this, you know, massive success, right? It's just it came
Yeah.
out and flopped, and trying to watch it now, thinking about like what if there were no sequels? What if there was no expanded universe, right? And it's just fun to be like, man, what a fun universe to think about all the possibilities, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
like,
just
imagine
such
if
a
this had,
rich.
yeah, imagine if this had turned into like a cult classic, right?
Yeah,
Like a small fan base, and people are like, oh man, you gotta watch this. It's super like obscure. Nobody's seen it.
right.
Like, yeah, that's God, what a world we would live in if that
I
was the
know.
case.
Yeah. And it's just like but at the same time, the flip side is also fun where you can watch this movie with the context of all the sequels and prequels and yada yada
Yeah.
yada. And there's like fun moments that with context become much deeper, right?
Yes.
Like I bring this up every time I watch it, is there's the scene where they go to the cantina, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as they're entering the bar, the bartender's like, "Hey, your droids have to stay outside, right? Like they
Yeah.
can't be in here." And when you watch it without any knowledge of the prequels or whatever, you're like, "Oh, that's weird. Like why can't droids come in? Like there's all kinds of fucking freaks in here. Like what's
Yeah.
the deal with droids?" And then you remember, "Oh, because they just spent a decade fighting droids."
Droids. Yep.
Yeah, you know, like
Yep.
and there's probably this persistent discrimination against droids
Yep.
because they watched all their friends and family be slaughtered by them for a decade.
Yep.
It's like it's just a fun thing where it's like if you have the context, you're like, "Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting bit of world building," you know?
Yep. My favorite is, and I was laughing the entire time this was happening,
Uh
was it's like the first 15-20 minutes, right? The Tantive 4 gets boarded by
yeah.
the Empire. Vader is there, and they capture Leia, and they're like, "Where are the plans?" And she's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about. We're on a diplomatic mission to
Yeah.
Alderaan." And Vader's like, "We know you have the plans," and Leia's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." When
Yeah.
not literally 5 minutes before, they were fighting on a different planet and definitely stole the
Yeah.
plan.
Like he definitely saw them take the plans. Like
Yeah, and if you
literally
don't know what
yeah.
if you don't know what I'm talking about, watch Rogue One.
Yeah. Which literally leads into A New Hope.
Yeah.
Like the thought that Leia is just so boldly like, I don't know.
I
I don't
don't
know
know,
where
man.
they are.
Yeah,
Like she's such a fucking like little shit, you know, to just
yeah,
be like, I don't know where they are.
yeah. And I love to imagine that as Vader is trying to like get this information from her, Anakin deep down is like, "That's my fucking daughter."
Yeah. Even though he supposedly doesn't know that that's his daughter, which there's a lot of, anyway.
Yeah,
So you mentioned something, since we're talking about all this context and stuff, right?
yeah,
I want to bring up something that for maybe a decade now has been my biggest, not maybe more than a decade, maybe like 15, almost 20 years. If I ever saw George Lucas, this is the sort of thing that I would get into a scuffle with him about, right?
oh boy,
Just like George, why the fuck did you do this, right?
yeah,
And it's this very simple thing. With the context of like the prequels and everything else,
mm-hmm.
if you have that in mind, when you watch this movie, you realize that Obi-Wan Kenobi is a fucking idiot. And hear me out, okay?
Okay,
We learn in the prequels
yes,
that all the Jedi
yes,
dress like Obi-Wan. They have these
yes,
big, heavy robes
yeah,
that they walk around wearing, which, like, I hate that he did that because now it means that Obi-Wan was in hiding wearing Jedi robes, right?
yeah,
Just walking around dressed as a
just
Jedi,
hanging out.
just hanging out dressed as a Jedi. And
Yep,
not only that, he changed his name to Ben Kenobi.
yeah,
And so he's like, not only is he no longer like he was like, oh, I know how to hide. I'll go from being Obi-Wan Kenobi to Ben Kenobi.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
like
it's the same energy. It's just like putting on those like fake glasses with the big nose and mustache and going, I'm a different person now.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, you're not.
Which also means that that Obi-Wan has been hiding on Tatooine, dressed as a Jedi, calling himself Kenobi, and apparently just willy-nilly whipping out his lightsaber, cutting off arms like it's no big deal. It's like, this man, the fact that he managed to hide for like 20 years without being discovered is incredible.
Now, is that Obi-Wan being an idiot, or is that the Empire being an idiot?
Both.
Because right, true, both. Because like, right, Vader is on this hell-bent mission, right? And going back to the whole context conversation, right? We have context from the Kenobi show that Vader knows that Obi-Wan is still alive.
Right.
And he's like actively pursuing him. I think there's also some stuff in like the comics,
right.
And some other stuff. And so like we know he's actively trying to find Obi-Wan. But like he just can't.
Right.
For some reason. And it's wild that he can't for this exact reason of dude, he's on the goddamn planet you grew up on.
Yeah.
Dressed as a Jedi, not hiding the fact he's just has a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like just
whipping it out
there.
Yeah.
But I think part of the reason Obi-Wan is on Tatooine is that I think he knows that deep down Vader will not go back to Tatooine because it reminds him too much of his mother, the things that he did to the Sand People, and Qui-Gon, and sort of the start of his journey that led him to becoming Vader. So I think there is a part of him that truly will not go back to Tatooine because he just would not be able to handle it, even being a Sith Lord. So I think Obi-Wan is both a genius and also a big idiot, because all it takes is for Vader to contact Jabba and go, "Hey man, you got some hermit freak living on Tatooine.
Yeah.
Go send your bounty hunters after him and bring him to me."
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
But
he's just anyway. So before we move on to the rest of this review, would you recommend somebody watch this film?
Yes. 100%. I understand it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
I know this type of genre isn't for everybody. I know there's a lot of, it's a very divisive franchise, right?
Yeah.
It's become so, you kind of touched on it earlier, it's become so ingrained in our culture, you just can't avoid it. Right. And so I know a lot of people don't watch it because of that. And they're like, I don't want to deal with it because, the fan base is so big and the, fans that I've interacted with have been the worst, which a lot of them are just awful.
Right.
And I get that, right? And if that's the reason you don't want to watch it, that's totally fine. I'm not going to force you to watch it. But if you are open to the idea of watching the movies and then not even engaging in the fandom, just watching the movies and appreciating them for, especially the original trilogy, the technological milestones we set in terms of special effects, and just understanding like where this cultural phenomenon began. Yes, I would highly recommend you watch them. You don't have to engage with the fans. There are so many of them that are unbearable to speak with.
Oh yeah.
You can just watch them and then not engage.
Yes.
So
I agree.
Yeah, I would 100% recommend this, but if it's not for you, it's totally fine. You can read the wiki.
Yeah. I would also say, and this is something that I feel like everybody needs a reminder for, which is that you can consume art without having to engage with any of the people
Yeah,
around it.
100%.
If you want to watch Star Wars, but you don't want to talk to some fucking dweeb about Obi-Wan and his goddamn robes or whatever, just don't. You just don't
Yeah,
have to. You can just watch the movie and that's it. And then if
yeah.
somebody says, "Do you like Star Wars?" you can be like, "Yeah," and that's it.
And
Like, don't.
that's the whole conversation.
Yeah, for some reason we've all have this idea in our heads that like you have to like know everything about something to just like enjoy it. Just forget about it. Just watch
Yeah,
the first one, and if you like it, then you like it. If you don't,
yeah,
move on. You got other
yeah.
stuff you can do.
You're allowed to like stuff, and you're also allowed to not like stuff. That
Yeah,
is not a moral judgment on your character.
no,
You're not a bad person for not liking something that 95% of the population loves, right? It just means you don't like it. You're not hurting anybody.
yeah,
Why should I care if you don't like it? I don't
yeah.
give a fuck.
I don't give a shit. I have this happen to me sometimes where like I'll be talking to somebody and they'll bring up a film or a movie or a TV show or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, I haven't seen it," and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you haven't seen that. You haven't seen what? What? You haven't seen it?" And I just tell them, "I don't know. I'm busy." And that's just
Yeah.
that's usually all you need to shut somebody up. Just be like, "I
Yep.
don't know. I'm busy. I got
I'm
stuff
busy.
going on.
Yeah.
There's so many things to watch. Like,
Yeah.
don't worry about it. If you haven't seen Star Wars, it's not a big deal. You can listen to us
Yeah.
talk about it, and you'll pretty much get it."
Yeah. Literally. Like it's, for being sort of a revolutionary film back in the 70s, when you like look at it at just like a base level, it's a very simple story.
Yeah.
It's extremely simple.
Oh yeah.
It's not very complex.
No.
And so, yeah, it's not, a quick Google search will tell you everything you need to know.
Yeah. So
So,
speaking of that, I want to talk a little bit about the background of this movie. And most people, I feel like, have a pretty good grasp of the background of Star Wars, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because it's kind of interesting.
yeah.
So Star Wars was created by a guy named George Lucas, who, if you don't know who George Lucas is, he's a uh, he's a meek.
What is George Lucas?
What is George Lucas? He is a mild-mannered, funny little guy who's got gray curly hair, and he wears a flannel shirt tucked into his pants, and he's worn that for the last 50 years. And if you look up a picture of George Lucas from 1977, and then you look up a picture of him today, he looks almost exactly the same, just old. And that's it. The man has not changed his style at all. It's incredible.
Yeah. Shout out George Lucas.
Shout out George Lucas. But George Lucas was he's part of, they were called like the new wave of American filmmakers or something like that.
Yeah.
So he kind of was coming up with Francis Ford Coppola and Martin Scorsese and a couple other filmmakers. And what's important to remember is that, like, for most of film history, like American film history, everything was being run by studios, right? Like the studio system. And so directors and writers and things, you had sort of control over individual films, but really everything was sort of churned out by the studio, right? So like if I was a director and I worked for 20th Century Fox, 20th Century Fox owned the movie that I made. They had contracts with the actors, so like I didn't really have a choice over who was in my movie. I could just choose who they were playing.
Yeah.
I might not have even chosen the script that I was directing. It was just given to me. Like, that's sort of how studios, how movie making operated for the most part. Well, you get up to the late 60s and you start getting these sort of renegade filmmakers who are making movies like cheaply and for specific audiences. So you're starting to see a lot of movies that are made like just for teenagers, right? Or like just for bikers, or you're getting these movies that are sort of director driven. This is when you sort of get the first like auteur films, like movies that are made by one specific person. They wrote the movie, directed it, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So as the 70s kind of move on, you're seeing fewer and fewer studio films and more movies made by these sort of renegade filmmakers. And the 70s are when the sort of first film colleges are created. So George Lucas was like one of the first major filmmakers to actually go to film school.
Oh
Like he
wow.
went to college to, study film.
Yeah.
And when he was in college, he made this short film called THX 1138, which it's a sci-fi film about the government controls your emotions or whatever.
Huh.
And it was sort of this like revolutionary short film that he made, and it caught a lot of attention. And he actually got a deal to make it into a full-fledged film.
Oh
And so he
wow.
released that in the early 70s. And it was like sort of this modest hit. It kind of had some trouble with production and stuff like that, but it came out, it was pretty successful. And he teamed up with, I believe it was Francis Ford Coppola, and it was on a dare, I believe, from Steven Spielberg,
Huh?
who was like, because George Lucas was this sort of, early in his career, he was like an experimental filmmaker almost, right?
Mm.
Like THX 1138 is like a very weird movie. It's like everything's shot at like a weird Dutch angle, and there's like these weird sets, and it's very like experimental. And I believe it was Steven Spielberg who like challenged him and was like, I bet you couldn't make like a straight ahead, like studio type film, right? Like
Mm.
like a teen comedy. Like that's so,
Yeah.
George, you're like this weird little guy. Like I bet you can't
Yeah.
make this like teen comedy. And
Yeah.
George was like, fucking bet. And
Bet.
he made this movie called American Graffiti, which is about like these drag racing teens from the 50s.
Oh.
Harrison Ford is in it, and a couple other notable actors. But yeah, it was like this teen comedy drama thing. And he made it. Like I said, I believe he teamed up with the Francis Ford Coppola, and they like created like a little film company that he released it through. Um, and it was a huge hit. Like it just like blew up.
Yeah.
And the studio at the time, like whatever major studio distributed it, I believe they made like some edits to it and stuff, which kind of pissed him off. Regardless, it released and it was like this massive success. And it kind of gave him the ammo to make his sort of pet project that he'd always been dreaming of, which was Star Wars.
Yeah.
So the original script for Star Wars was like this crazy long, it was like 400 pages or something crazy.
Right.
Just this like super deep mythology, like crazy, studio. Like it was like an impossible movie to make, right?
Yeah.
Like I believe in the original draft, like Han Solo was like a green-skinned alien man, and fucking he was called Star Killer. He wasn't Skywalker.
Oh yeah.
And Obi-Wan was like a old general of like whatever, and like I don't
Yeah.
know. Anyway, so he writes this script, and he's got sort of this ammunition now where he can kind of pitch it to studios, right? Because he's like, I'm the guy who made American Graffiti. Like I've got,
Yeah.
you know. And so he brought it to 20th Century Fox, and there was an executive there whose name I can't remember, but let me look it up really quick. It was Alan Ladd Jr., who he was the vice president of 20th Century Fox. He had seen American Graffiti, and he was like, this guy's great. Like, he's a great filmmaker, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And everybody else at 20th Century Fox was like, this script is like incoherent. Like
Yeah.
it's not going to make any money. It's weird. Like we don't get it. But Alan Ladd Jr. was like, no, I see like the vision. And so he
Yeah.
greenlit Star Wars.
Wow.
So it kicks into production, and Star Wars essentially, like if you watch it, it is basically like George Lucas's version of Flash Gordon, right? Like, and
Oh
if you
yeah.
don't know,
Yeah.
if you don't know what Flash Gordon is, Flash Gordon was this serialized space opera that I believe started coming out in like the 1930s. And it's essentially about a guy from Earth who gets sent to Mars, and he's like he has to fight this guy called Ming the Merciless, who's like the warlord on Mars, and it's spaceships and whatever rescuing princesses.
Yeah.
And George Lucas had seen these movies as a kid and was like, "Oh, I want to do that." Right? Like this had always been in his head, was to make a Flash Gordon movie, but he also knew that like if he made Flash Gordon, it like wouldn't be his, you know? And so
Yeah.
he decided to make Star Wars because it's his own property. It's his kind of take on Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
It is also heavily inspired by this Japanese film called The Hidden Fortress, which was directed by Akira Kurosawa. Um, and like I said, it's like a very similar story, but he kind of took those stories, and then he also was really interested in the writings of this guy named Joseph Campbell, who he created. It's called The Hero's Journey.
Yes.
Um, he wrote this book. I think it was called like The Hero of a Thousand Faces, where he had basically studied all these cultures and like from around the world, and had kind of written this like outline of how every story, like creation myth, like all these, heroic journeys, like everything from the Odyssey to the uh what's it called? I can't remember. The Gilgamesh. It
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
Gilgamesh. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They all
Beowulf.
kind of follow. Yes, Beowulf. Like they kind of all follow this same pattern, right?
Yeah.
And George Lucas had read this book, and I believe he had actually been a student in one of Joseph Campbell's classes.
Wow.
And he was like, I'm basically just going to apply this formula to Star Wars, right? And
Yeah.
so that's why now often Star Wars is cited as this like sort of textbook example of the hero's journey, because
Yeah.
it's literally like, okay, regular guy meets a mentor. He's an old wizard. He's got to go to a place. He's got to rescue a princess. He's got a guy with him. He's kind of a rascal. And
Yep.
like, it's like this
Yep.
whole, you read the hero's journey and you're just like, oh yeah, that's just Star Wars. Like it's just
Yeah. Yep. That's it.
it's literally just Star Wars. Even down to the like storming the fortress at the end, like
Yeah.
it's all kind of follows that pattern. And when it came out, again, like the 1970s were this period of like super cynical, like gritty crime dramas and spy films and
Yeah.
espionage. Like this is like Watergate, Vietnam, right? Like all these movies are coming out that are like, someone's out to get you and you should jump off a bridge or whatever. And Star Wars comes out and it's like, boom, heroes. It's this like old
Yeah.
school kind of movie. And it just kind of like took the world by storm, right? It's like,
Yeah.
it is just sort of this incredible cyclone of ideas that like shouldn't work, but it does work. It is kind of like when you read about Star Wars and like the making of, and I would recommend everybody go watch. There's a movie called Empire of Dreams. It's like a documentary, and it's like it's like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, something like that, just about the making of the three original Star Wars films, and it's so good. But it's like you learn about the making of the first Star Wars, and you're like, it's incredible that this movie is as good as it is.
Yes.
Because it just sounds like a mess.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I think is one of the great strengths of this film is the cast. Which what do you think about the cast generally?
I think it's great. I think Mark Hamill does a really good job
Yes.
as Luke. Harrison Ford is probably one of my favorite actors ever.
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher is a powerhouse, or
Yes.
was a powerhouse. May she rest in peace. And I think the chemistry of those three, both like in the movie and like off camera, I think their chemistry off camera, I think helped them on camera, because they were, at least from what I've seen, they were very like, they were like best friends.
Yeah.
basically. And I think that, it was because of Star Wars that they became very good friends. But yeah, they were just like their their chemistry just, I think, allowed them to really focus in on what motivated these characters, and that allowed them to put on one of the greatest performances we've seen in film history.
Yeah.
Um, and then with James Earl Jones, being Vader, I like genuinely, I can't think of anybody else who could have
No.
done as good of a job as he did. I mean, when you hear Vader, it is just like so iconic, and you're like, "Yep, that's it. That's the bad guy."
Right.
And yeah, he fucking killed it.
Yeah.
Alec Guinness giving us, a lot of the most iconic Obi-Wan, lines and mannerisms, like "hello there,"
Right.
which um, fuck, what's his name? The guy that plays young Obi-Wan in
Oh,
the
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor. I remember seeing either an interview or reading something where he was talking a lot about like how he tried to like incorporate a lot of that Alec McGuinness stuff
Yeah.
into his Obi-Wan. And then some of the voice actors for Obi-Wan and like the animated series also were trying to like, the animated series came out after the prequels, and so they had both the Alec McGuinness and Ewan McGregor performances to kind of work off of, and
Yeah.
so a lot of those voice actors were really trying to like find that good middle ground. But it still all stemmed from that Alec McGuinness performance, and he just, God, he killed it. He was so good.
Yeah.
And everybody else, all of the aliens, all the people that they meet and talk to, and Grand Moff Tarkin.
Oh my God, so good.
He like again, he's one of those characters where I'm like, this could not have been played by anybody else.
No. Mm-mm.
Like this guy, this is it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think the casting and the characters just all fantastically done.
Yeah, I agree. Also, I hate to correct you, but his name is Alec Guinness. There's
Alec,
no.
oh, sorry, Alec
Yeah,
Guinness.
that's okay. Like the beer,
Yes,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah. So there a couple of things I just want to note. So Alec Guinness, the most notable thing about him with this movie that's interesting to me is that I believe the studio specifically wanted Alec Guinness because they were like, we need an established actor in this film, right? To like
Yeah.
draw in audiences. Because originally George Lucas wanted Alec Guinness to be played by Toshiro Mifune, who is a Japanese actor. I don't believe we've watched anything with him in it yet.
Mhm.
But he was in a lot of Kurosawa films, which I mentioned before. This movie is based on the Hidden Fortress in some regards. And because the Jedi are so heavily based on like samurai, right?
Yeah.
There's even the sword fighting is supposed to be very reminiscent of sort of Jidaigeki films. Um, George Lucas was like, I want Toshiro Mifune to play Obi-Wan, and the studio was like, nah, American audiences don't know who that is, like that won't sell, so you have to get like Alec Guinness. And Alec Guinness was an award-winning, like Academy Award-winning actor.
Yeah.
He'd been in huge movies like Bridge over the River Kwai,
Wow.
which he won an Oscar for, and Lawrence of Arabia, and like he was this very dignified actor.
Yeah.
And supposedly, after he like read the script and like in the lead up to the movie, he was like, this is a pack of shit. Like I don't he was like, I
Yeah.
don't want to be on this movie. Like this dialogue sucks. Like
Yeah.
this weird story I don't understand. But supposedly, as the story goes, like when he was actually on set, he was like a total gentleman, just
Yeah.
like a very, dignified actor. Like he was very helpful to George Lucas, like, kind of helping him along in the process. And
Yeah. He was
um,
professional.
he was very professional, which is like such a like an old British thing to do. Be like, oh, chap, chap, cheerio.
Yeah.
We'll get the job done no matter what. But grin and bear it. It's like,
Yeah.
but then behind the scenes being like, oh, fuck this, mate. Like,
Yeah.
um, because in interviews since he's been like, he was like, oh, I hated working on Star Wars. Like it was they had to go out to the desert and it was like 100
Yeah.
degrees and like all this stuff. But again, apparently on set he was very like cordial and
Yeah.
just very professional. Um, which like it's sad that that is like significant
Yeah.
nowadays, where you're like, yeah, they had a terrible time, but they were like really nice to everyone
Yeah.
anyway. Like now you'd
Yeah.
be like, oh, they had a terrible time and they were a big dick to
And
everyone.
they were a dick. Well, wasn't it kind of the same with Harrison Ford? Because didn't he famously also hate Star Wars?
Oh, he still hates Star Wars. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
There's a very fun, if nobody's ever seen it, there's a very funny clip of Harrison Ford, I think on Jimmy Fallon or one of those, where they hand him a Han Solo doll and he starts like ripping it up. It's very funny. Um,
Yeah.
yes, Harrison Ford originally was not going to be in Star Wars because George Lucas had brought Harrison Ford in to the auditions because he was like, he didn't want to repeat cast, basically.
Yeah.
Because Harrison Ford had been in American Graffiti, he was like, I don't just want to use the same actors over and over. Like, I want to have different casts for every film. And he brought Harrison Ford in just to like read lines with people. He was like, I'll play the part of Han Solo or whatever, and then they'll just read lines across from me, when he's auditioning Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia. But then because he was so good at it, and
Yeah.
because he'd done it over and over and over again, George Lucas was like, well, now I can't picture anybody else but you playing Han Solo. Thanks a
Yeah.
lot,
Jackass.
jackass. And so then he ended up being cast as Han Solo anyway. And like you mentioned, the chemistry between the three of them is so good. And it's part of the reason that all three of them are in this movie, because George Lucas was like, I want three actors who are going to bounce off each other well.
Yeah.
And if any one of them drops out, I'm going to have three different people step in. He was
Oh,
basically
wow.
like, if we don't get Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford, I don't want any of them. I'll just get three
Yeah.
different actors, because that was
Yeah.
so important to him, was their
Yeah.
chemistry. And then the other person I wanted to mention, so Grand Moff Tarkin is played by Peter Cushing,
Yes.
who we've watched a Peter Cushing film on this show before.
Yes.
We watched Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, in which he plays Van Helsing.
Yep.
Because Peter Cushing was another sort of famous British actor, but he was much more of a B-movie actor. He had famously been in a ton of Hammer horror films. So he had played Victor Frankenstein and Van Helsing and Sherlock Holmes and like all these sort of kitschy B-movie, characters.
Yeah. I bet he makes a pretty good Sherlock.
I've seen the movie. It's pretty good. He's
Is it really? Okay.
I think it's Hound of the Baskervilles is the adaptation.
Okay.
We should watch it at some point. It's pretty
Okay.
good.
Oh, yeah.
But George Lucas was a huge fan of Hammer horror. Like he was a big fan of the Dracula series. And so when he was like casting Grand Moff Tarkin, he was like, give me Peter Cushing. Like this guy, he's the best. Like, and he's so sinister, he's got like such a sinister energy. And for like 3 days after I watched this movie, this most recent time, I could not stop rolling my R's like he does, where he's like, your rebel friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, he is so like the whole scene with like, right, they bring in Leia and he's like, all right, tell us where the rebel base is or we'll blow up your entire home planet.
Yeah.
Right. And then Leia's like, all right, yep, you got me. Here it is. And he's like, cool, thanks for the info. Anyway, blast them. Like, that's so evil.
Yeah. Also, very bold of Leia to lie anyway. Like,
Yeah,
she's like, well, even with my planet on the line, I'm still gonna fucking lie.
I'm still gonna lie to you, which again is a very Skywalker thing to do.
Oh yeah, definitely. Um, so I'm trying to think of a way to pivot. Oh, James Earl Jones, like you said, just perfect. Um,
Yeah.
so the body of Darth Vader is this actor named um oh shit, what's his name? God damn it. Hold on. It was in my David Prowse.
Mm.
And he was a famous bodybuilder. Um if you don't know, he was famously one of the rivals of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, really?
Yes, they were often in Mr. Universe competitions against each other. But David Prowse was a famous bodybuilder. He's super tall. He's like, I don't know, 6'5" or something like that. He's a
Damn.
big man. But he's since passed away. But if you ever heard him talk, um, he has a very rural British accent.
Ah,
And so if you watch some of the behind the scenes of A New Hope, he is like reading the lines for Darth Vader,
yeah,
but he does not sound imposing.
yeah,
He's like I can't even do the accent. It's just go watch a clip of it. It's very like it doesn't sound intimidating.
yeah.
And
You're like, okay, sure, buddy.
yeah, and the British cast actually had a nickname. They called him Darth Farmer, um, because he was like he just sounded like a farmer. And
Yeah.
so George Lucas was like, well, that's not gonna fucking work. Like this guy doesn't sound intimidating at all. And so he brought in James Earl Jones, and I believe he noticed James Earl Jones because he had been. Let me make sure about this. Do do do. Yeah. So originally, Lucas wanted Orson Welles, who
Oh,
very famous movie actor. He was for those who don't know, he wrote, directed, and starred in Citizen Kane, which is famously one of the greatest movies ever made. Or it's often cited as one of the greatest movies ever made.
never seen
Um,
it.
it is a good movie. It's fantastic if you ever get the
Really?
chance to see it. But he was just kind of a famous actor, but and so George Lucas was like, well, maybe we should get Orson Welles, because if you don't know, Orson Welles has this very deep, sort of booming voice.
Yeah,
Um, but then he was like, well, I don't know if I want to get Orson Welles because his voice is very recognizable, and he didn't want
yeah.
people to think of Darth Vader as
Orson
Orson
Welles.
Welles.
Yeah,
And so he's like, well, I'll cast like an unknown actor. So he got James Earl Jones, and James Earl Jones up to this point had mostly been like a theater actor. So he'd done like a lot of stage shows and stuff like that. And he actually went uncredited in the original Star
oh,
Wars.
really?
Yeah, if you somehow manage to find an original print of this film, his name is not in the credits.
Huh.
The only listing for Darth Vader is David Prowse, and funnily enough, David Prowse also didn't know that he was being dubbed at the time of the
Ah,
film. It came out and he watched it and he was like, "What the fuck?
that's
That's not
not
my
me.
voice." Yeah. Um, and James Earl Jones actually went uncredited until a year later, during the release of the Star Wars Holiday Special, um, in which they credited him in that as the voice of Darth Vader. Um, which
Yikes.
is funny, but something interesting about that is, if you don't know, James Earl Jones is black. He's
Yep.
African American. And so there was this sort of outcry at the time because people were like, again, it's the 70s, this racial tensions aren't exactly the best.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh, it's Darth Vader. Who could be Darth Vader?" And then when it came out that Darth Vader was black, a bunch of people were like, "What the fuck? What the hell?"
Yeah.
But I don't know. At the same time, a bunch of people were like, "Oh, sick! Like that great voice is James Earl Jones. Like that's
Yeah.
awesome."
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just a fun fact about Darth Vader. Um, I was going to pivot to something, and now I can't remember. Oh, so one of the iconic things from this film is the lightsabers. Um,
Yes.
we get the very first lightsaber fight ever
Yep.
recorded on film.
Yep.
Um, what do you think of this initial battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
So going back to the whole context thing, it's two old dudes in, their 70s doing their best to sword fight.
Yes.
Which is very funny. Without the context of like without the in-universe context, but the context of, when this movie was made and everything, I think this is a great fight.
Yeah.
Because like because we can visually see that Obi-Wan is old.
Yeah.
But we don't really have a good sense of how old Vader is.
Right.
And so when they're fighting, it's very clear that like Obi-Wan knows he's old and he's not the same, he's not the Jedi Knight from the Clone Wars anymore. He's playing with Vader, right?
Yeah.
And because he knows, okay, I'm probably not going to win this because I'm 1,000 years old.
Right.
And Vader has, we can only assume, right? We see the big glowing, buttons and lights on his thing. He got the big helmet, right? So we're thinking, all right, this dude is enhanced somehow. So old man with stick goes up against potentially cybernetic evil warlord. Who's gonna win? So I think it's interesting and it's good because it's clear that Obi-Wan is like, okay, I just need to I need to give Luke, Han, and Leia enough time to get out of here. I am just a distraction.
Yeah.
And then I'll just fucking die because he but he understands too, right? And he tells Vader this. He's like, if you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you can ever imagine or whatever. And that's the whole Force Ghost thing, which we don't find out until Empire.
Right.
And so he's like, I will just be a distraction for now. And then when they're close enough to getting away, I'll just throw in the towel. And I think that also is a really smart move because it throws Vader off. Vader's like, this dude's just giving up? Like,
yeah,
what the hell? And it I think throws him off guard a little bit, allowing Luke and Leia and Han to get away. So I think it's a really well done, really intelligent fight.
Yeah.
If you don't take in the context, the in-universe context of Obi-Wan and Vader's relationship, right? Because, I'm going back to 1977. We have nothing. This is the first Star Wars piece of media ever. And in that mindset, it's a very intelligent fight.
Yeah.
With all of the context we have now, it is hysterical, this fight.
Yeah.
It is so funny.
The funniest part to me is that obviously, because, okay, one thing I want to talk about. So in years since the original movie came out, George Lucas has come out and been like, oh yeah, like I had the original trilogy planned out. Like, I knew where this story was going and I had the prequels about bullshit. And I know it's bullshit.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't, George. You were making it up as you went. And I know you were because you didn't fucking know that Darth was a title because fucking Obi-Wan calls him Darth like it's his first name.
Yep. Yeah.
When they're fighting, he calls him Darth like 3 times, and it cracks me up every time. He's like, "Oh, Darth, you didn't know that whatever." It's like, it's like, why would Obi-Wan be calling Anakin Darth? It makes no fucking sense.
It makes that much sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like calling him Jedi. It's just like, it's ridiculous. And I do love my second favorite part of that fight is Obi-Wan's little spin that he does.
Oh my god! Yes,
spin. It's fucking amazing.
It's very good. He's still trying to relive his glory days.
Yeah. But I did want to say one thing that I do like about it, if you do take into the context, is you could frame it as, oh, they're old and this is how they fight now, right? But I like to think of it as these are two very experienced warriors who have been ruminating on this fight for 20 years, right?
Yeah.
And as opposed to it being like a slow, clumsy fight, I like to think of it as they know each other so well that they have to be very precise.
Yeah.
And so they don't have time for flipping and fucking
Yeah.
around, right? Like these are
Yep.
two old samurai and they are
Yep.
just, they know any strike means death. And so they're
Yeah.
like, they're not going to waste time
Yep.
fucking flipping their lightsaber about and like flip it over each other. They're just like,
Yep.
they're just trying to hit each other once to kill each other. Like that's it.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I enjoy it for that purpose, but it is funny that it's just two old men just like fucking chopping wood. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. They don't have time to do like the Obi Annie like
No.
spins and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're well, and two, like once you have the context, like Obi-Wan was Anakin's mentor, right? They've sparred probably thousands of times, right? They've sparred. Then there was the entire, fight on the fucking lava planet in Revenge of the Sith, right? Where, and that one they could, afford to, right, do the whole spinning and cool tricks and shit. Mainly because, Anakin was so full of rage and hate that, he was really, I think, careless with his attacks. And he was still young. And so he hadn't really refined his combat. And, up until this point, he had only been fighting droids, right? Like he had encountered Dooku and Grievous. And so he had, there was a few times where he did have to, fight other, lightsaber wielders. But he hadn't really had a lot of practice.
Right.
And so, he's doing his best with what he has. And as the years go, right, we get the whole Inquisitors thing, and he ends up fighting Ahsoka a lot, and hunting down the last few Jedi, and so he does refine sort of his combat style in the Vader suit, which I think also plays a little bit into this fight between Obi-Wan, this final fight between Obi-Wan and Vader. Because he's an old man, and two, he is in a suit designed to keep him in pain.
Right.
And you can kind of see that in his fighting style, right? He's very stiff. He doesn't have a lot of range of motion. And so it's very interesting that, I think you touch on it, and I think you're 100% right. Like they've been thinking about this very fight for so long, because as far as we know, the last time they see each other is in the Kenobi show.
Yeah.
Where they have their little duel. And then Obi-Wan goes into hiding. And so, yeah, they've been thinking about this forever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's very much a, we have to be extra precise, extra careful, and it's all about just like one strike to kill, right? We're not doing any fancy tricks. This is all about finishing it here and now.
Yeah. Which
between an apprentice and a master,
who
have so much history.
Yeah, and it reminds me a lot, if you've ever seen Rebels, Star Wars Rebels.
Oh yeah. Yep.
There's a scene in that where, and again, this is speaking to all the fucking convoluted world building around Star Wars, but there's the scene where Darth Maul finally catches up to Obi-Wan.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
And he meets him in the desert, right?
Yep.
And they come out, and it's this big build-up. You think it's gonna be this huge fight, and
Yep.
Obi-Wan takes him down in one strike. And it's
One
just
strike.
like, it's like that's how refined these guys would become after years and years and years, right?
Yep.
Like to Maul, it's this big thing. He's been thinking about it for 20 years. And Obi-Wan's like, yeah, me too. Bang. Like,
hey, you're done. Well, and it's because I've seen, I think it was Dave Filoni talking about that whole scene, right? Where, you know, Obi-Wan first does, right? He does 3 poses.
yeah.
And it's all mind games to throw Maul off, right?
Yeah.
Because he first does I believe he does the Ewan McGregor stance first, right? The, you know, up here like this.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the Alec Guinness, and then he does the Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
And in Phantom Menace, right, we know that, you know, Darth Maul kills Qui-Gon. And so going into that Qui-Gon stance as the final stance, Maul is like, oh, I've seen this trick before.
Yeah.
And I killed his master. I know what to do. Well, you're forgetting that Obi-Wan was there when you did it, and he's been thinking about that moment since it happened.
Right.
Right? He's been thinking about this for 40, 50 years. He has probably analyzed that very moment, whether consciously or unconsciously, every day of his life, because that was his master. That was who he looked up to. And so he knows the trick. He knows what you're going to do. That's why he does the Qui-Gon. And so, yeah, it makes sense that, you know, it's one hit because it's all mind games at this point.
Right.
Right. Even Maul is old at this point. Right.
Yeah.
He's a different species, so he probably ages a little differently, but he's still old. Right. And he's been cut in half, and he has these cybernetic legs. And so, yeah, it's not about fancy tricks and doing flips. It's about who can outsmart the other.
Right. Exactly. Grayson, I've had an idea.
Yes.
And I want you to tell me if you think this is a good idea or not.
Yes.
How would you feel about us splitting this into 2 episodes?
Oh, I'd be interested in that.
Because I feel like we've still got a lot to say and we don't have a lot of time left.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you want to, we can sort of end this here.
Yes.
And then we'll come back and we'll finish this discussion about A New Hope next week.
I like it.
Okay. But I think we should do that because I feel like I still have a ton to say and I don't want to rush it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, then we'll save our rating and everything for the next one. But yeah, I think that's a good stopping point.
Yeah.
That's kind of halfway through the movie, right?
Yeah.
We still got the Battle of Yavin to talk about. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, we'll come back to this because I've probably got like 15 minutes before I got to get ready for work. So,
shit. All right.
But that's okay because we still have plenty to talk about. So,
hell yeah.
Next week we will finish talking about Star Wars, but before then, it's time for everybody's favorite section of the show. Hey, it's Editor's Picks.
Hell yeah. Well, since we're talking about Star Wars, I'm going to say Rogue One. I've probably recommended it before, but I'm going to recommend it again. It's so I would, we talked about this at the beginning, right? I would recommend watching A New Hope. But if you're interested in Star Wars, watch Rogue One.
Yeah.
Then watch A New Hope. Because it really does make that first 15 minutes of A New Hope just so much better.
Yeah.
And funnier. Yes. Because again, they just were fighting.
Right.
Like they're just coming out of a huge conflict where the Death Star blew up a planet. And Leia's out here going, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We're on a diplomatic mission to Alderaan.
Yeah.
And also Rogue One is just it's so, if you've ever watched like Les Mis, it's very Les Mis-esque where, there's this big revolution. There's a start to this revolution. They light the fires, but then it ends in tragedy.
Yeah.
And it's so good. The characters are so well thought out. They're so interesting. And Donnie Yen is in it.
Yes.
And
yes, he is.
He plays a blind, sort of force-sensitive guy with a staff that beats the shit out of stormtroopers. It's great. I
was gonna say, if you want more blind Donnie Yen hitting people with a stick, then this is the movie for you.
Oh yeah,
a role he's played more than once.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, Rogue One. It is fantastic. It's really, really good.
Okay, hell yeah. Oh, there goes Grayson, dying in the background.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stick to a similar track. And I'm actually going to recommend something that we've actually reviewed on the show.
Oh.
But I caught some of it on TV the other day, and I was like, damn, remember how good this movie is?
Yeah.
And that's John Wick 4. So speaking of Donnie Yen being blind and hitting people with a stick, John Wick 4, it's obviously the fourth film in the John Wick series.
Yep.
We reviewed it when it came out. I think it's the only movie we've ever watched the weekend it premiered. But regardless, what a film. So good. Yeah. It's so long, but you don't feel the length. Like, it's just such a good.
That's what she said.
Heyo. Yeah.
Sorry, folks.
Fucking hell of a movie.
It's very good.
Yeah, I think it's on like Peacock or one of those right now. Go watch it. It's so good. Yeah. Also, I'm going to recommend, if you're listening to this when it comes out, go watch some NBA playoffs. It's a good series this time. All the matchups are pretty good.
Hell
yeah. Selfishly, my Detroit Pistons have made it to the second round, and they won game 1. So I'm enjoying that. I'm not normally a basketball watcher, but this year I'm just going to watch the playoffs, and it's been fun. So, yes, go watch some NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Cool. Grayson, you want to take us out of here?
Yeah. We got all sorts of socials: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Yes.
Viva Action, all of the places I'm going to talk about.
Yep.
If you're listening on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you can give us 5 stars, rate us, however it allows you to engage with the podcast. Really helps us out. If whatever you're listening on allows you to leave comments, go ahead and do so. We'll read them. We'll probably read them on the show. If you're on YouTube, the classic line: like, comment, subscribe.
Hell yeah.
It's an algorithmically based platform, so any sort of engagement helps us out, even if it's negative. So if you don't like what we're doing, the best thing you can do is leave us alone. We have an email where you can email us suggestions. There's also a Google form linked. I think we have a link tree, right? There's a link tree.
We do have a link tree, yes.
Yeah, so just if you click on the link tree, you can find all sorts of links and things to click on. But yeah, there's a Google form you can fill out, give us suggestions. You can leave suggestions wherever you find us, in the comments of TikTok, Instagram, whatever. And if you want to support us and throw a little dough our way, we do have a Ko-Fi, ko-fi/Viva La Action.
Yep.
You can give as little as $1.
Yes.
And we'll each get 50 cents, and we'll go probably stick it in like a gumball machine or something and, call it a day.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. But you don't have to. You're not obligated to give us any money. We both are gainfully employed. So,
yep.
But if you wanted to throw a little dough our way, we would not say no, and we'd be eternally grateful.
That's it. That's all the things. That's all the places.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it.
Yep.
Thanks so much for listening.
Yep.
And we'll talk to you next time. Next week.
Adios.
Bye.